and every Monday is $9 Monday at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for Overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.
All right, welcome in and a very happy Monday to you. It is the month of madness. And if you thought the conference tournaments over the last week were crazy, yeah, buckle up here as March Madness getting underway this week. Selection Sunday has come and gone. We know who's playing who and where. And now it is time to break some of these games down for you as we welcome in our Monday crew here at WagerTalk.com. Drew Martin up at the top, Adam Trigger hanging out in the middle. We welcome in Steve Merrill on this the Monday after. Craziness, just pure craziness all week long, but now the fun begins here. And Drew, you gotta love it, man. This is the ultimate. You have the diehards, you got the casuals, you got the people who've never ever watched a college game all year. But, you know, Phyllis in accounting is passing out brackets. So there's money here to be made. Let's face it. You know it and I know it here, Drew. What do you got locked and loaded already, if anything, Drew, over at Wager Talk?
Oh, yeah, Joe. I'm up with a $9 play I really like in the play-in game, to tell you the truth. And I got a couple I'm going to fire out here shortly. Some big plays I like in the first round. So it's good stuff at Wager Talk on a hot run right now. And you bring up, Phyllis from accounting. I like those ladies, come on in. Let's go. Yep. Now is the time. If you like sports betting, today is your week. And even if you're a newbie, more than welcome in. Joe, I did want to ask a question here kind of to everybody watching. If I had one question to ask to the committee, it would be, as somebody that watched a ton of SEC basketball, how is Alabama a 6 seed and Texas A&M not in the tournament? That's absolutely ridiculous. If you're an Aggie fan, you have a right to be upset. And Alabama, I feel like you're lucky. Hey, you might make a run here, but that's one question I would like to ask the committee. And Phyllis from accounting, let's go. Happy first round of the tournament. March Madness is here.
Yeah, Phyllis got that number 2 pencil in the hair, man, like emailing everyone, where's your $10? Let's go. Where's your bracket? I would say Texas A&M should only be mad at one team and one team only, and that is Richmond, because Richmond stole their spot. That's pretty much, I think, how that turned out there. Talk to us here, Trig. What do you got locked and loaded, if anything, yet here? College, you got to love it. Madness, man, just pure madness. What do you got? What are you looking ahead to?
Well, Joe, first of all, I'll comment on the Texas A&M thing. I think they got to be mad at themselves. Listen, exactly. Playing the SEC, you had plenty of chances. It sucks that you fell short and they chose Alabama over you or whatnot, but I don't want to hear it. This tournament used to be 64 teams. It's now 68. So, you could have won another game. That's what I have to say about that. SMU, yeah, listen, there's going to be teams that don't get in and some that do, and it is what it is. As far as NCAA tournament action, I haven't posted anything yet. There is so many games. We got NIT. We have the smaller tournaments as well. So I'll be posting stuff later tonight into the morning, but I'll have plenty up. And I need to bounce back this week. Had a rough weekend, so expect to do just that.
It's like a new slate. That's basically what it is. A lot of teams took advantage of that in the conference tournaments. Didn't matter what they did all season long. You win it, and you're in it. And that's the bottom line here, Steve, as we get ready for and Adam touched on it. Not only the tournament, but of course the NIT's coming around the corner, CBI. There's a whole lot of going on with a lot of very familiar teams and names here still playing basketball. Bottom line is there's a lot to bet on coming up here, Steve.
It's a fantastic time of year, and I always keep saying, don't forget about the NBA, and it's $9 Monday. I will have a strong NBA best bet tonight at WagerTalk.com for just $9. In the last 10 months, nobody's won more units in the NBA at WagerTalk.com. We've had a nice run here going back to last year. It's a great time of year to be playing the NBA, up over 76 units the last 10 months in the NBA, number one. And then, of course, the last 2 years, college basketball, since I joined WagerTalk.com, number one college basketball sides and totals, 70 units won. So maybe consider a March Madness subscription. $199 gets you the rest of the college basketball season. That includes my bracket, which I am working on as we speak. Be out tonight, maybe tomorrow, maybe even tonight if it's done. And that's why subscription is great, because the minute anything is posted, whether it be a best bet, my complete 63-game bracket with all the first-round upsets, you get instant alerts. You get it before anybody else. And if you want a 7-day, I looked at this, a 7-day college is only $69. That's a really good deal because you're getting the bracket. You're getting the first 2 rounds, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Check it out, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
Oh, guys, going to be a good, and I mean, well, it's going to be a great next couple of weeks, and we've got you covered here on College Basketball Tip-Off Show. No better place to start than how about them play-in games that we got coming up. And game number 1, yeah, if you hear any yelling, screaming, and whooping it up here, it's because of our fearless producer, an alum of Texas Southern, ready to rock and roll, Robert, -3, taking on Texas A&M Corpus Christi, the SWAC champs. Can they get it done? Opening total of 135 in this one. Southland versus the SWAC here, Drew. It's an interesting matchup, one that's going to feature some defense here, certainly by Texas Southern. So how do you approach this game?
Sure, Joe. And, the Texas A&M Corpus Christi Islanders here catching 3. I was looking at them at the beginning, but, they were the 4 seed in the Southland Conference, and they beat the number 1 seed Nicholls State to kind of get in the semifinals of the conference tournament to be on their way to punching this ticket. But I'll tell you, Joe, they are the lowest kind of power-rated team in the tournament. And when we get these kind of out-of-conference matchups, a lot of time during the regular season, and then, of course, during the tournament, I do kind of bring back power ratings more to the forefront here. And the SWAC champions, that of Texas Southern, that's Robert, our producer's Texas Southern, like you stated there, Joe. I actually like him here, -3. A lot of people look at their free throw percentage and see 67%. However, they've shot free throws a lot better of recent. That's something I like to work into my handicap. And like you touched on, Joe, 107, their defensive efficiency. Now, some of that is due to who they're playing in the SWAC conference. But at the same time, Texas A&M Corpus Christi isn't going to be that big of a step up in kind of competition here. Plus the fact Texas Southern 0-7 to start the season, and they still punch a ticket into the NCAA tournament. I think there's something there, and that's a kind of tip of the cap to their head coach, Johnny Jones. Give me Texas Southern minus the field goal here, Joe.
All right, and it's amazing that your microphone stayed on the whole time there. I was waiting for that to get cut right off there, Drew, if you weren't going Texas Southern. Talk to me
Okay.
here, Trig. The winner, by the way, congratulations, has the right to play Kansas, of all teams. So this is a pretty big matchup between these two number 16 seeds, potential number 16 seed. Who do you give the edge to, Trick?
Well, Joe, I mean, think back to December. It's not Kansas, but Texas Southern does have a win over Florida, to their credit, which at the time seemed pretty amazing that they were able to pull that off. I was actually really surprised to see Corpus Christi getting the public action when I looked earlier, and that it shouldn't really come as a surprise at this point because we talked about it on Wager Talk today. Steve and I and Teddy covers. The betting public just is enamored with underdogs from this tournament, and I think this is one scenario where you're getting kind of a short price with the favorite. Texas Southern has been in this game a number of times, as early as last year, which they won in this spot. So they certainly have the experience. They have the depth. I think there's 10 players that play 13 minutes or more on this team. And they, Johnny Jones, I've never really thought of him as a great coach, but he recruits well, and he's recruited extremely well, in that conference since he's been there. So, as Drew said, I would actually look at A&M Corpus Christi as a little bit of a step down for Texas Southern. I don't know that the SWAC is necessarily better, but the Southland, remember, they lost Stephen F. Austin. They lost 4 teams to the WAC. Stephen F. Austin and the other ones I don't know why I'm blanking right now. But anyway, it was really Nicholls State and a number of teams that were far worse than Nicholls State, and Texas A&M clipped them in the semifinal round of that tournament. So I look at this as a mismatch. The one way Texas A&M Corpus Christi could get there here is if they just start turning Texas Southern over. Texas Southern turns the ball over as much as any team in the country, and Corpus Christi is pretty proficient at forcing turnovers. But I would worry about Corpus Christi being able to score many points outside of transition. And so for that reason, and the ones I mentioned earlier, I lean toward Texas Southern minus the small number here.
All right, laying a small number. They can certainly play some defense. They're one of the best defensive efficient teams, Texas Southern. Steve, when I saw the matchup, I immediately thought maybe total in this one. How are you approaching this game?
Yeah, first of all, I want to know what time Robert, our producer's flight, leaves for Dayton, Ohio for this game tomorrow night at 6:40 Eastern. And safe travels, Robert, to Dayton. It's a lovely city from what I hear. Look, we got to talk about these really bad teams. No offense, Robert, don't cut my mic, but there's a reason these conferences are always in the first 4 play-in 16-16 game, because really bad teams, and this is coming from someone who's coached some really bad teams at the lower levels of basketball, as you know, Joe, is usually turnovers and a lack of shooting. And this is a perfect example with both these teams. You look at their 3-point percentages, not good. They don't get many points from 3. The difference between high-level college basketball and these low-level conferences is they don't shoot. Sometimes they're very athletic. They can run and gun, but they can't shoot. And so that does get you into the under. But you also have to be careful with those defensive numbers, like you were saying, because they're always just playing bad teams. I do want to get back to free throw shooting, though, and I think it is a very important factor in this game. First of all, the line is 3.5. Huge edge for Corpus Christi, or as I called them earlier by accident, Corpus Crispy. I keep trying to say that for some reason. But they shoot 75% from the line. Texas Southern shoots 67, which is 319th in the nation out of 358. Another interesting little side note here, we talk about the luck factor, and that's basically just winning or losing games that are close. But opponents' free throw percentage, for the most part, is pretty random, I think, right? Unless you have a weird arena, maybe. Of all 358 teams, Texas Southern's opponents this year shot the 5th worst percentage in the nation, 65.5%. Corpus Christi's opponents shot 329th, 75%. So a huge difference in results based on that. And these are 2 teams that did play decent against the non-conference schedule. Texas A&M Corpus Christi played hardly anybody this year, but they only lost by 10 at Notre Dame. They only lost by 8 at Minnesota. Pretty solid showings there. So I think you can make a case for them as a live dog here in a game that really is kind of random back and forth. There's some angles that favor A&M. Corpus Christi as the dog, I think.
And they are just ferocious on the boards, too, averaging 14 or more offensive rebounds a game. So Texas Southern going to have to protect those rebounds and get a few of them themselves as Corpus Christi. I love the way you went with that. Corpus Crispy. And Texas Southern. That is tomorrow, game number 1 there of the play-in. We've got the second half of that leg, and this should be, well, maybe the most entertaining game that we're going to see here until the tournament starts, with Indiana, everyone's darling out of the Big Ten there, taking on Wyoming. Some people were a little surprised, Wyoming over to Drew's point, Texas A&M, but -4 is the opening number here with that total, 133.5. The second leg of this tomorrow night. So talk to me, Trig. You like Indiana or do you like Wyoming in this one?
Well, Joe, sorry for the last segment. Sam Houston State, Abilene Christian. I don't know how I couldn't force that out.
Yes.
It's just been a day so far. But anyway, Wyoming, I am shocked that it looks like a lot of Indiana money so far, because Wyoming was such a sort of like a public darling type team earlier this year. And, they kind of waned out toward the end of the season, had a couple of losses. They ended up losing. They didn't make the championship game in their conference tournament. And it looks like everyone's kind of just, jumped off the Wyoming bandwagon here. But I've been really impressed with Wyoming all season. I've talked about it on this show a number of times. Jeff Linder, incredible coach. He's done a tremendous job there. And, Wyoming is a team that I am going to look to back if they can keep advancing in this tournament. We've talked about teams coming out of the playing game, making a run. So you've got Rutgers, Notre Dame, Indiana, Wyoming. Those are your choices this year. But last year we saw UCLA do it, and we've seen it in years past. This is going to be a game that Wyoming, they love to play in the post. Can they do that against Indiana? I think they can, but I really think they're going to need their shooters to step up in this game. Indiana does not defend the perimeter particularly well. And, Indiana had a really nice showing in the Big Ten tournament. But if you go back to the end of the regular season, they had lost 7 of 9. I thought Woodson kind of lost this team. And it looked that way up until the last few minutes of the Michigan game when Indiana sort of came out of nowhere to come back, win, and go on a little run in the conference tourney. I wonder how much that was just in the moment. And, can they sort of replicate that run? I'm not sure. Wyoming has been an outstanding team all year. I think you're getting a bargain, getting 4 points here. Wouldn't be surprised to see Wyoming win this game.
They love the post. They got between Maldonado and Ike. They got a few players here in Wyoming that can certainly drive you nuts and give you fits. So, what do you think? Is Indiana a bad matchup for Wyoming in your opinion, Steve?
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, with Wyoming, one thing you got to keep in mind, they do have a strong home court based on the altitude and thin air, right? And they were 14-1 at home this year. That only loss was a close game against a good San Diego State team, in which all of a sudden San Diego State made free throws down the stretch. I remember because Drew and myself, I think, Adam, you're the other one. I think it was a Monday show. We all talked about how that line looked too good to be true with Wyoming as the home dog. Overall, 11-7 on neutral and road games this year. Indiana, though, just 6-9 away from home versus 14-4 at home. I've run several different sets of power ratings. Most of them would probably have this line priced a little too high here at -4. I think it will probably be a little closer. I can make some cases for both teams. One thing I'll point out again, we talk about opponents' free throws, not something people talk about a lot. Indiana's opponents, 76%, which is 345th worst or best, however you look at it. So basically, Indiana's opponents were top 14 in free throws made. I think a lot of that is random variance. So that's another reason why Indiana was able to sneak into the tournament. Some people had them on the outside looking in. And as Adam definitely said correctly, these play-in teams always make a run. It's going to be one of these 4 teams, Wyoming, Indiana, Notre Dame, Rutgers. One of them will most likely be playing a week from now in the round of 16. Wyoming does rely heavily on scoring down low. I'm sorry, Indiana does rely heavily on scoring down low. Wyoming's better from 3-point defense than 2. So I think from a matchup perspective, Indiana gets that preferred front court matchup, but I do think the line is a little bit too high, and there's probably some line value with Wyoming.
Yeah, I mean, they do. Both teams, Drew, have some guys that can score. I mean, Maldonado's like 6'7", 6'8", running things. Ike's a big man, but you've got Jackson Davis is just, whoo! And Xavier Johnson's come on for Indiana throughout the tournament as a freshman. So what do you expect? A lot of points here? Do you expect less points? What do you think we're going to get in this matchup?
Yeah, totals wise, it's an interesting handicap, Joe. I mean, you're right. Indiana has played a lot better, and I usually tend to kind of look to bet on those type of teams. But a little bit to Steve's point, when you look at the Hoosiers and how they played away from Bloomington, not very good. He brought up the straight up records. It's also 3-8 against the spread on the road. So they've been a money burner playing on the road. Now their defense is good. They're good down low. They do struggle on the free throw line, and looking at the -4 here that they're having to lay, that's kind of foul fest territory. So watch out here if you're laying the number with Indiana. And to tell you the truth, Joe, it's enough for me to be on the Cowboys here. To actually Trig's point, he brings up a good point. Their head coach Jeff Linder, he's done a great job. And like you said in the intro, Ike down low. We get Hunter Maldonado. He's 6'7", 6'8", and he also runs the point. So he kind of backs guys down that are covering him that are just a lot shorter, and it works out to him scoring the basketball. So all that kind of making me look towards Wyoming here. I like Wyoming plus the points, and they're also 9-4 against the spread on the road. So we get, Indiana being overpriced on the road, Wyoming being underpriced. I think there's something to that. This being a short turnaround here. So having to play in their conference tournament games, and then this game just tomorrow night. So watch out for that as well. But I think it all points towards Wyoming plus the points, Joe.
All right, good stuff there. Winner gets to take on St. Mary's. Boy, that should be an interesting one too. So good one there, guys, tomorrow night. That's round 2 of the play-in games. We do have an NIT matchup, too, we're going to talk here about, as it's going to feature a couple of teams out west, including Washington State taking on Santa Clara. Washington State opens up as a 3-point favorite. I am still seeing 3.5. I'm also seeing the total has come down a little bit, 149 and a half, and this is going to be the late night special there tomorrow night, the 15th, 11 o'clock Eastern time tip. Talk to me, Steve Merrill. Santa Clara can score at the best of them. Are you looking at the total or the side in this one?
Well, first thing I want to point out, we talk about luck factor, some of opponents' free throws or whatever, but then that luck factor in the Ken Palm rankings that we refer a lot, and Providence, of course, has been the luckiest team all season. Is basically winning or losing more straight-up games than you should. And now the committee, I know they have a lot of metrics. I think they do a pretty good job, but still, one-loss record definitely plays a large role in making the NCAA tournament. And the 12th most unlucky team out of all 358 this year was Washington State. So not a surprise that they're on the outside looking in. So you can make a case that maybe they're a little bit underrated coming into this game. Tempo is something else you always have to look at. Santa Clara likes to play very fast. Washington State is more comfortable in the slow down half court. These NIT games, they don't know till Sunday night, and they have to travel and play tomorrow. So obviously home court has a little bit of an edge, I think, in this first round when they're focused. And I don't think either one of these teams thought they were going dancing. So there's no letdown factor like you see with sometimes with those first 4 out. So Washington State at home, quick scheduling situation, slowing them down, could frustrate Santa Clara a little bit. And I think you can make a case the Cougars are a little bit underrated coming into the NIT for that reason, as I said, as they were a little bit unlucky this season. As far as matchups, they get a high percentage of their shots from 3-point range. Santa Clara, much better 2-point defense and 3-point defense. So I think there's definitely some things pointing to Washington State at home, especially if they can slow down this game against Santa Clara.
Yeah, and they're probably going to need to do that, Drew, because I remember where they dropped 102 on Portland State not too long ago to Santa Clara team. They can score with the best of them here. So what do you think about the matchup here? Are you looking at the total or are you looking at the side?
Even hearing you talk about Santa Clara putting up over 100 points, it's starting to get me to look at this total, Joe. I mean, because Washington State against some of their opponents earlier on in the season, when they playing outside of the Pac-12, if you will, they put up 109 points against Idaho. They put up 94 points against Weber State. So this is a team that I do think, to Steve's point, will look to slow it down. But at the same time, they can score a lot of points when their opposition looks to run it up. So that's something I would take into account totals-wise and actually side-wise here, Joe. Laying the 3 in the hook here, kind of an important hook on that 3, but they do shoot 75% from the free throw line, so you feel a little bit more comfortable kind of laying a number here. And Santa Clara, look, if they're knocking down their threes, which they have a lot this season, and they run a really up-tempo, top 25 in the country, if they're lighting it up, they can win this game. But overall, just percentage-wise, playing the percentages, which is what I like to do, betting this sport, I think the Cougars are the side. So give me the favorite here. Late night action tomorrow night, Joe.
Love it. All right. Now, Trig, you were, if we roll back the tape here to the beginning of the season, Washington State was a team you were very high on. A lot of people were very high on Washington State this year. It didn't exactly work out for them. But what do you think about them taking on this Santa Clara team? They have enough to be able to slow them down and win this one?
So I'll start with the reservations I have here, right? One, I was extremely high on Washington State, and I think Washington State coming into the year, the goal was absolutely NCAA tournament. So even though they're not it's not a first 4 out situation, I still have to try to gauge motivation of certain teams when it comes to NIT. And Washington State would be one of those teams where it's going to be, let's figure out how motivated they are in this spot. Now, Santa Clara, I expect to want to be here. You look at what they did this year, 21-11, 10-5. They finished ahead of San Francisco and BYU in what was like a historically solid WCC conference. San Francisco in the NCAA tournament, a lot of people would say BYU should be. So, Santa Clara has done some impressive stuff. I think they're definitely capable of hanging with Washington State. We've seen Washington State kind of take some mid-majors lightly this year. Losses to South Dakota State, New Mexico State, and Eastern Washington was an ugly loss at this venue earlier this year. I'm curious to see if the fans turn up. Sometimes they have the home court advantage, but a lot of times when you get these major schools in the NIT, especially the early rounds of the NIT, it's half full arenas and the crowd isn't always super into it. So I like the matchup for Washington State. It's a team I've liked all year. I think the number is short. That's one thing I guess I can sort of say matter of factly. I think 3.5 is definitely short for this game, especially since we've seen the books sort of price up Washington State throughout the season. But I'm not going to just write Santa Clara off here. They can absolutely play. I'll need a little bit more to push me to the window with Washington State, but I think that's how I'd look. And if all the other factors line up, maybe I'll be on the move.
All right, good stuff there, guys. A lot of basketball still to be played here. It's going to be an awful lot of fun. Actually, in the next 24 to 48 hours, still a lot to be determined. Some of those side tournaments getting ready, NIT, CBI this week, and of course, the play-in games are coming up. So it's time to figure out which one of these games maybe these guys are leaning towards a little bit more than the rest. And Drew, who is on a absolute heater right now, I believe 7-1 on your last 8. Drew, crushing it here in college hoops. So tell us, which one of these games might you be leaning towards?
Sure, Joe. Actually, the middle game we're talking about. Yeah, 7-1 last 8. Seeing it well, guys, coming into March Madness. So check it out. Year to date, actually, number 1 ranked handicapper, win percentage wise at WagerTalk.com. We got Wyoming Cowboys +4, Joe. That's what I'm going with. We get Hunter Maldonado, the tall point guard. He's good. I think Indiana struggles with him getting to the basket. I think we get a little bit of a coaching advantage as well. And Wyoming has played better on the road, guys. 9-4 ATS on the road, as opposed to Indiana 3-8 ATS on the road and only 69% from the free throw line. So I'm fading the false favorite here in the first 4. Wyoming Cowboys +4 for me, Joe.
All right, go with it. Taking them points. How about it, Adam? What are you doing here, Trig? Which one of these you like a little more than the rest?
I'm going to jump on Wyoming with Drew. I usually don't like to. I try to give something different, but out of the 3 we've talked about, that's the one that sticks out the most to me. Coaching advantage. I take Jeff Linder over Woodson any day. Like I said, I thought Woodson kind of was losing that Indiana team toward the end of the season. I know they rallied and did what they did in the Big Ten tournament, but they were also very close to getting blown out at one point in that Big Ten tournament. So, kind of take that for what you will. Wyoming, to me, has been an outstanding team all season. They faded a little bit toward the end of the season. I don't think they really needed that game in the conference tournament. Clearly, they didn't, because they're in anyway. And just I like the way Maldonado can play in the post. EK's probably he's one of the most improved players in the country, certainly in the Mountain West, legitimate post player. So even though I don't think Wyoming's getting their dream matchup here, because Indiana can defend the post and they've got size as well, I like Linder to be able to game plan. I think Wyoming will be able to get open shots on the perimeter. Indiana struggles to defend 3-point shooters. And I think you're getting a good number with +4. Like Drew said, I think they're forcing you to pay a little bit of a premium for Indiana here. Maybe that's based on what happened last week, but Wyoming's been rock solid all season. I expect the Cowboys to show up again and at least get the money against the number.
Boom. All right. Talk to us here, Steve. Which one of these games you're leaning towards here?
First, a quick reminder that it is $9 Monday because it is Monday, and it's WagerTalk.com, which means you get all best bets for $9. I have a strong NBA steamroller blowout tonight for just $9. I am number one in the NBA the past 10 months at WagerTalk.com. 76 units won, an easy 29-point blowout winner with the Suns last night. I've got another steamroller tonight for just $9. Monday Night NBA, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. Let's look at a free play late night Tuesday in the NIT. You know, NIT is all about motivation. You have to make sure the teams want to be there. Santa Clara, Washington State, neither thought they were going to get in on Sunday night. I think they're getting ready for the NIT. It's a quick turnaround. You only have about a day and a half to find out who you're planning to travel. That's a disadvantage for Santa Clara in this game. Washington State, also one of the most unlucky teams in the nation. Depending on which rankings you look at, the 12th most unlucky team this year out of 358, which means they're better than their overall 19-14 record indicates, and probably better than their 13-20 ATS record. And this line is a little short at -3.5 for that reason. Matchup-wise, Washington State does not score well from two-point range. That's where Santa Clara is strongest. Santa Clara not as strong defending the three. Washington State gets a high percentage of the points from beyond the arc. They'll be at home. They'll be comfortable here shooting the ball. And Santa Clara likes to play fast, and I don't think they're going to get that preferred style and tempo against a slow-down half-court Washington State team, especially with just one day to prepare for this matchup. I think the Cougars are going to frustrate Santa Clara in the half court. Washington State's going to hit some threes, and they're going to win this game at home and cover the short number. Washington State -3.5, a late night NIT game, 11 p.m. Eastern Tuesday night on ESPNU. Quick reminder, if you want my complete NCAA tournament bracket, my prediction for all 63 games, including the national champion, bonus long shots, and also several first-round outright upsets, you can get it all right now at WagerTalk.com. Get a direct subscription. You get that bracket included for free. 7-day college, $69. The entire tournament through April, $199. Number one ranked in college basketball the last 2 years. Steve Merrill, 70 units won. WagerTalk.com.
Awesome stuff there, Steve, and our good friends from the Gold Sheet. No play here, but we do want to remind you, of course, that the write-ups and all of the game analytics, some great handicapping tools available over at thegoldsheet.com, guys. Make sure you head over there and check it out. I'm going to go against the grain here. I happen to think Indiana, Wyoming has got over written all over it. And I know everyone's first reaction would be to back the under. I'm not. I think there's a lot of firepower here, certainly with Indiana and how they've been playing. I think it's going to be a close game at the end. Free throws are going to come in, both pretty decent at the line. I don't think it's going to be hard getting over the 132 that it's listed at right now on the board. So give me the over with Indiana and Wyoming. Let's check it out one more time. A little recap here. As Drew likes Wyoming and the points, so does Trigg. Says take them points against Indiana. Merrill is going to the NIT, says he's backing Washington State to get it done over Santa Clara. And I'm going to go to the over in that Indiana-Wyoming game at 132. And, of course, don't forget, guys, if you head over to WagerTalk.com right now, it is $9 Monday, which means best bets up, locked, loaded, ready to go. Just $9 for Steve Merrill, for Drew Martin, for Adam Trigger. Guys, visit their pages now. Great opportunity for you to hop on board here. Grab those best bets. Just $9 now at WagerTalk.com. And if you hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner, you'll get notified when we go live on these shows. We'll be back again tomorrow talking about the other half of those play-in games, plus a couple of more of the NIT matchups. We'll break down a lot of basketball still to come. We're just getting started here with the College Basketball Tip-Off Show. And until tomorrow, on behalf of Drew, Trigg, and Steve Merrill, guys, best of luck with your plays tonight. We'll talk to you again soon. Good luck.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for Overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.